Can your motivators hurt you? Oh, yes, my friend. They can betray you, they can leave you black and blue, and they can even lead you astray. Stick around, I'll tell you why. So, today, let's talk about the two main types of motivators so that you can be supported in discerning which one you're using and shift to a more supportive approach while reaching your goals this year. So, through the collective consciousness energy forecast, there was a big rush of energy, which we often have at the beginning of the year, and then it dwindles. And that was showing up especially this week. And if you didn't have a positive, supportive motivator to leverage yourself this week, you might have felt that claw back. But these motivators, they show up in your life all the time. So I just felt it was a really appropriate time to dive into these with you. So I like to categorize these into two main types of motivation. The one that is essentially our default setting for society, unfortunately, is the hardship-based motivator. And how that one works is it supports you by moving you away from the hardship, from the challenge, from the undesirable experience, and it pushes you forward and away from it. And so how that one is challenging, or the downfall of that, is as you move away from the hardship-based experience, so whether that's financial issues, whether that's issues in relationships, whether that's weight that you're releasing, whether that's a health issue, as you get better, as the situation improves, as the fear becomes overcomes, as you move away from that original situation, the motivation dwindles. And so you'll get some improvement and then it'll peter out. So if that sounds familiar to you, that's why. This yucky experience is what drives you forward because you're trying to move away from it. The desire-based motivator, which is the one I would highly recommend, but it's not the default setting that you were likely indoctrinated into, draws you forward towards your goal. And the benefit to that is if you have the goal of feeling energized or having loving and supportive relationships or having financial freedom or feeling a certain level of success, recognition, respect, self-appreciation, self-love, etc. No matter what your goal is, you're being drawn towards that goal. And the main distinction and the main way that I see energetically that this is helpful is when we use a hardship-based motivator, we're using I don't like to use this word, but a negative frequency. We're using fear or lack or hardship or challenge as a motivation. So if you want to think about it as you're a vehicle and then you're using like a dirty gasoline to move you forward, which then pollutes your environment. So when we look at, for example, if you're trying to release some weight, you're like, oh, you don't look good, you're fat, they're prettier than you. If you use like negative language or criticism or judgment to move you forward into a healthier experience, you're beating yourself up on the way to your goal. So yes, you'll improve your situation, but then you've got the energy and the self-criticism and that self-talk that's negative to then release from your experience. Whereas if you're using a desire-based motivator, which draws you forward, the energy that you're using, so again, if you're a vehicle, you're using your desire, which is a positive based energy to fuel you forward. You're using love or joy or freedom or empowerment or health or energy or feeling energized or vitality, for example. So how you fuel your vehicle that moves you forward has a direct and indirect impact in your environment as you're achieving your goals. So hopefully that's landing for you. And so when you use a hardship-based motivator, you're putting that type of fuel, lack, fear, judgment, criticism in your fuel, in your gas tank to fuel you forward. When you're using your desire-based motivators, you're using and a positive energy to draw you forward. Now, for example, if you're a procrastinator or perfectionism, one of the ways that hardship-based motivators will show up is you'll wait till the end until you're like crunch for time, and you'll use chaos and fear and stress and the 11th hour, that energy of the 11th hour, to motivate yourself to get it done, to overcome potentially your fear of imperfectionism, your fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of missing the deadline, fear of losing your job, or whatever situation or circumstance might happen if you don't get it done. And so what happens is that creates a very unhealthy balance and in your energetic flow, because then you're procrastinating and then you're really being hard on yourself, right before all those deadlines. So you've got some really highs and lows you create a roller coaster for yourself, essentially. When you're using those desire-based goals, you'll have the capacity to more plan appropriately in your schedule, because then you'll see, oh, I want to have this done and I want to feel good while I'm doing it, right? So if you want to create a positive outcome, you can't beat yourself up the whole way there and then expect to have a great day. You instill and layer that goodness on the way to that good experience. So hopefully that makes sense for you. There's another one that falls under the hardship-based motivators. And this one, I'll be honest, was one of my go-tos back in the day. And it had a lot of detrimental experiences. So I want to share it with you. It's one that's like within the hardship-based motivators. I call it the obstacle-based motivators. And how that one functions is it challenges you to overcome. And so how this might look like is you'll be like, oh, I have this dream or this goal. And then whether it's internally or externally, you'll have someone support you and say, oh, that's not possible, or that'll never happen, or that'll take too much time, or how are you going to pay for that, or is that valid? Or so what you're doing is you're using a proving energy and also a type of revenge energy in order to overcome that obstacle. So you're moving into the I'll show you energy. And so what happens and how this is detrimental, especially if you use that obstacle-based motivator a lot, is you'll surround yourself with people who don't believe in your dreams and what you're capable of and what's possible for you. Also, you'll start to invite your inner committee to also speak to yourself in that way. So the I'll show you vibe, it moves into that proving and that revenge energy. You say like success is the best revenge. There's if you want to like feel into the energy of that statement, you'll probably notice, okay, well, maybe there are different ways, as in like joy, like does revenge have to be a part of your motivation? That's for you to explore. So if you struggle with desire-based motivators, I want you to ask yourself, like growing up, who modeled that for you? Did you have someone in your life model positive based motivators, desire-based motivators? Is this something that you have in your subconscious programming? Because that's developed between 0 and 7 years old. Or is this something that you need to access and develop? A really good out of the gate point of focus, if you lack desire-based motivations, is start by clarifying that goal or that dream. And if that goal and that dream is not motivating you, it's not inspiring you, make it more relevant, make it more desirable, make it more tangible, make it bigger, make it more awesome. Make this desire so delicious that it naturally pulls you forward. Now, let me know in the comment, now that I've brought this to your awareness, what is your go-to motivator? When you notice what gets you going, what catalyzes you to take action, what's that look like for you? And so for more support on exploring these patterns, you'll want to check out my 5-day foundations program. It's going to help you both gain clarity and direction on your goals, as well as recognize any of the hardship-based motivators that you might be inadvertently using. And if you feel called to work deeper on this, one of my breakthrough sessions might be just the right fit for you. I'll leave both those links below so that you can check them out. And if you found this helpful, you can support my work by leaving a comment, leaving a like. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love to you.